I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate.
Our natural unalienable rights are now considered to be a dispensation of government, and freedom has never been so fragile, so close to slipping from our grasp as it is at this moment.
Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
When the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically.
Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
All right, we're up and at 'em. We're live. I think we're good. Are we good? How's the sound? Let's check in here, see how the video is tonight. It feels like it's been a little while since we talked to you guys. I think technically we were on Sunday, but a lot of people weren't able to join thanks to obvious reasons, taken off for the most holiest of holidays for the year when it comes to the Christian faith. And that's a good thing. I do hope you guys had a very blessed Easter. And I know that wasn't the case for everybody, though. We're going to talk about this attack on our First Amendment rights again. Some truly eye-opening stuff occurring around the world this weekend, talking about Gestapo tactics against our church and our faith, which were used by the left over the week in different parts of the world, and we've got a couple of videos we'd like to share with you on that tonight. With that being said, let's do a sound check, a video check. It's 9:04.
Yeah, we've got Jim Perry in the house, says audio and video is good.
Excellent.
Thank you,
Jim.
Professor Jim.
Appreciate you as always, my friend.
Andy remembers that speech of JFK.
Yes.
And Laurel's on from Virginia. Gene Kern from North Chile.
Chile.
I meant Chile.
After all these years, and you're still butchering the town of Chile.
I did not just say that.
What in the world is going on around here?
We have Maggie on. Edward, he says it sounds good. Thank you. Rachel, hello to you as well. Misty, Carol Reiners, hey Carol, and Judy from Texas. Barb Kerr, Marie, Lois, Clarissa, Derek, Chris. Good to have everybody. Rhonda, Linda, thank you all for joining.
Great to have you guys with us tonight. So tell us about it. Tell us about your weekend. Let's say hello to our YouTubers, multi-streaming. We're on Patreon, we're on YouTube, and we're on Facebook. A salute to our Patreon subscribers. Thank you very much. You guys are our lifeblood. And it should be an interesting show. A lot of things to catch up on, as mentioned.
Yeah. Sunday we did an Easter edition, and we promised we would stay away from politics that night.
We did.
We felt it appropriate. But, man, game on tonight.
Yeah, yes.
And it's not that we want it to be game on. It just happens to be that politics is in every aspect of our lives right now.
Yeah, so while many people across the globe were celebrating the blessing of Easter,
Yeah.
many people going about, and maybe more people, typically more people than normal, will attend church on Easter Sunday, as you guys know. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
I actually heard a lot of people that had not been back to church yet since the pandemic were planning on going Easter this year.
And that's a good thing. It's time.
Yeah,
okay?
it is time.
It's time to get us back. But then to hear about and watch these videos of attacks by the left on our church occurred this weekend. So while we were staying out of politics this weekend, politics went after our churches. So we're going to speak out. We're going to do our part. And so we'll have that coming up in the program. Of course, we've got Cuomo and his vaccine passport. He continues to push. There is, well, you don't know what you're doing. Hit this button here. Okay, here you go. I gave her. That's the beep, hon. Was that what you wanted? You're just playing. You're just playing.
That one
Okay.
looked like a fun one to hit. So.
All right, there we go. There we go. Yeah, you guys have been warned. She now has access
To the stream deck,
Stream
which is
Deck.
all the fun buttons. Go on, tell us more about Cuomo.
Cuomo continues to push, again, through executive mandate, the Excelsior Pass. So understand, first of all, what this is. Because I passed along a petition for people to stand up against this idea of a vaccine passport. And understand what it is. Someone said, well, it's already been voted on and passed. No, it was never voted on. It was another executive order by a tyrant that knows no bounds.
Which one?
You know, King Andy.
Okay, I wanted to make.
So
it's hard to tell which tyrant these days. There's so many.
So the Cuomo vaccine passport, or Excelsior Pass, understand that it's only enforceable by the businesses that adopt it. Okay, and so I think it's so important for us to speak out on this, because if we just go hum ho and we adopt this from our own businesses, or maybe businesses that we have relationships with, and if we just turn a blind eye and like, okay, go ahead and make this passport thing come, there's a lot of dangers associated with this passport idea. We'll talk a little bit about this, but know that you have a choice and you have a part of this process. We can accept or we can reject. And I think it's time for us to stand up and reject some of these things that are coming down from Albany and coming down, again, from top levels of the government. So talking about that coming up here in a couple of minutes. It does bring up certain privacy concerns, by the way, that I think are well worth mentioning. And we'll get into that. I say privacy concerns. Remember, for so long you couldn't talk about, or you were not forced to reveal if you had a disability.
I think that's still happening. Isn't that something still in place?
It's called the Americans with Disabilities Act,
Yeah.
right? You guys remember that? That was passed a long time ago.
Yeah.
You didn't have to reveal, but now basically with this Excelsior Pass, it would force you to reveal that part of your, and this is a general
private.
It's no longer like a novel pandemic. It was novel a year and 4 months ago, a year and 5 months ago. It's not novel because it's been around and we've got treatments and we know everything about this virus. And then, of course, then you've got all the vaccines that are available, which may or may not be good. We'll talk about that coming up. Robert Kennedy Jr. coming out, and he's expressing grave concerns over both the vaccine and also the vaccine passports. Talking about that coming up here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we have Sandy Morris on here and Barb Kerr both saying, what about HIPAA, right?
What about HIPAA?
What about it? Great question.
100%.
Great question. Used to be a time when you had liberties and you had privacy. There was a time, guys. Remember those?
There was a time, and now there's the end times that I think we're all living in. Okay, so
Wow.
here we are. Okay, hey.
Yes, we have 185 friends on tonight.
Thank you.
Please remember, sharing is caring. And we'd love to get to 200 so we could do some cowbell.
We'd love to get some cowbell action.
All
and
right.
It's real cowbell, not digital cowbell, just so you know there's a
The
difference.
real thing.
It's the real deal. So,
All right. We also have Dave Harper on tonight, Don Luzecki, and Mark White. They're selling your information with the Excelsior Pass.
Well, of course they are. Of course they are. And, it's... that's a slippery slope, and I'm not.
Very slippery.
And it's going to take us a few episodes to really wrap our minds around where this is going. But we will be talking more. We talked about this some last Thursday's show. What was her name? The CEO of that emerging social media, socialclout.com, I believe. Her name is Naomi Wolf. She's a doctor, and she expressed grave concern over what's happening in other parts of the world, including Israel, and how it's spreading into the United States. Understand, while we Americans have enjoyed freedoms for so long, and understand while now we're gripping with the loss of freedoms, the rest of the world, this stuff's been happening to for years now, if not decades. It's just now getting to us here.
And a lot of people from these countries saying, red flags, Americans,
100%.
red flags, wake up, stop being gullible.
100%.
And
100%.
I know a lot of us are not to this, they're watching right now.
But it's definitely concerning. And so with that being said, I'm going to show you the first of 2 videos here coming up in a couple of moments. So we're going to get you caught up on the vaccine passport, talking about censorship continuing. We want to get into the Georgia voter ID debate. There should be no debate at all. This should be no debate. You know, if you're required an ID to purchase an alcoholic beverage, or if you're required an ID to drive a vehicle, there's no reason you can't present an ID at the time of voting. There is zero reason for that, in my opinion. And these companies,
especially considering it's such an important
part of the process.
At least it used to be.
It used to be important. Well, we're going to do everything that we can.
Again, so many changing things.
And I don't want to hear this that, if you enforce voter ID, you're racist. That does not make any sense at all. It doesn't. And when they do that, they're just gaslighting. They're making stuff up and trying to blow it back at you.
Well, then I guess when you get on planes, is that racist too? And when anytime you need to show an ID, that's considered racist?
Nowadays, everything is considered racist. So let's just remember that. So if you're trying to tiptoe around racism, throw it out the door. Everything's racist.
Yeah. Which is really unfortunate.
So we want to talk about Major League Baseball's decision. Major League Baseball's decision to leave Atlanta, Georgia. Did you guys hear that?
I did hear that.
So Major League Baseball, which was going to host the All-Star game in Atlanta, it used to be called Fulton County Stadium, but it's in central Atlanta. And understand that this neighborhood where it's at, it's not like an uppity-up high-end neighborhood. This is actually a middle, lower-class neighborhood. And so when you take the All-Star game and you take tens of millions of dollars of business out of metro Atlanta and you move it out to Denver, Colorado, guess what you've done?
Yeah.
You've hurt those that you say you're trying to protect. That is the most anti-woke thing you can do, yet that's what Major League Baseball is doing. You see, they're going to move it out to Denver, okay, into a middle upper class neighborhood. They don't need the business, they don't need the money, and they don't have a lot of minorities. But that's where Major League Baseball is taking in their All-Star game as a way to protest the state's decision to require voter ID. You can't make this stuff up.
Go on out there and have your Coca-Cola while you're at it.
Get your cowbell. We've got 2:05.
Woo! Oh, goodness, guys. I'm excited.
Careful. You're close to the mic.
I'm excited.
Close to the mic.
I'm not too excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it happens. It happens with this one. Love you. All right. Thanks for being here, guys. All right. With that being said,
hey, 207. Good to have you guys.
I want to talk more about this. This is
Lorna
crazy
on
notion.
here. With the IDs, real quick.
Yeah.
Great point. You have to have an ID if you are on food stamps or welfare.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes on to say they are trying to say poor people can't afford an ID, but yet that is necessary to get those items. And Lori on here says you have to register to vote, so why not an ID? Mm-hmm. You are a registered voter. Come on, man. Right? And then Mark on here, Mark White, MLB going to Denver's with a 9% black population for the All-Star game. Just brilliant.
Oh, displaying your wokeness.
Right. Mary Perry, the Georgia voting laws are the same in Denver. Something else going on.
I'll say that there's something else going on.
Very true, Mary. Something very much going on. And Micah on here. Hi, Micah.
I tell you what's going on is that Georgia is a swing state and Colorado's not.
Oh, that's true.
What's going on. Okay?
That you make a good point. Micah says to hell with MLB. Didn't watch a game last year and won't watch one this year either.
I'm with you. And trust me, I've been a baseball fan my entire life. This past year was the first year that I really checked out. And I'm not checking back in, especially after this done. So that's just the way it is. All right, look, baseball is one thing. Okay, voting is obviously something that's important. It's another thing. But church on Easter Sunday is another thing completely.
Yes.
All right, take a look at this.
Yeah.
So this is the video provided by The Guardian. This is a Catholic Mass in London. Just listen.
The Guard.
The Guardian.
Okay.
Just listen. Let me know what you think. It's Good Friday.
Oh, no audio. Can you all not hear that?
Okay, let's. And thank you for the heads up. Let's replay that. Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, this gathering is unfortunately unlawful under the coronavirus regulations we have currently. You are not allowed to meet inside with this many people under law. At this moment in time, you need to go home. Failure to comply with this direction to leave and go to your home address ultimately could lead you to be fined £200, or if you fail to give your details, to you being arrested. I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, though it is Good Friday and I appreciate you would like to worship, that this gathering is unlawful, so please may you leave the building now. Thank you.
To proszę,
Watching.
proszę wobec tego wyjść z kościoła, bo inaczej 200 funtów każdy zapłaci mandat.
Good Friday services have been concluded before they even got started, again at a Catholic Mass in London. And why? Because that preacher doesn't have a backbone. That pastor, which is in charge of the, to a degree, the souls of that congregation, just caved
To the political
to
pressures.
nothing that's not enforceable. And it's not enforceable. Especially, the holiest of all weekends. Give me a break. All right, so this made me I was pretty nauseous when I saw this. I want to know what you guys think. That's terrible.
Yeah, Margie on here says that's sad and despicable to shut down a church like that.
On Good Friday. Again, I mean, it's...
Yeah. Yeah, Mark White, wow, no freedom of religion in England.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we also have Marie on here. Scott Bristol saying it's disgusting. It is. This is terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
And they were all wearing masks, Charlene said. They were.
Doesn't
right?
make a difference
They were
what you
even
do.
wearing masks. It's like...
But here's the thing.
It's never enough, is it?
Here's the thing. So we gave in, right? We gave in right after the pandemic hit. And we closed down our churches for a few weeks, and then it was a few months, right? Right. And then finally, after 6-9 months, whatever it was, when we got permission to reopen the churches, it was at very limited capacity, 25%, right? And then, of course, keep in mind this pandemic, which was very novel at the beginning, a year and a half ago. And it was dangerous, especially to those that are elderly, those that had the underlying conditions. But we had all this time to learn about it. We had all this time to come up with these treatments. Then we had all this time to come up with the vaccines and get the people vaccinated. Now, on Good Friday, almost a year and a half after the thing begins, you get this type of reaction coming from the Gestapo left. And that's what that is. Those are Gestapo tactics from a totalitarian government that is looking to utterly change society and culture, not just in Britain, that's London, but they want it worldwide, and specifically they want it for the Western Hemisphere, Western culture, because Western culture, until recent years, has been the most free across the globe, and they have been for a long time. And so now they're coming for us, and they are coming for our religion. And they're going to come after the Second Amendment rights as well. They're already affecting our Fourth Amendment rights, trying to limit your movements. There's so many things that are at stake here. And then to watch that reaction by that gutless pastor, it's shameful. It's just absolutely shameful.
It is shameful. Now can we show them what you do?
All right, let's show them what you should do. So
a lot of you all have probably seen this video. It's very
If you haven't, let's see it again.
Here we go, because this is how it should be handled.
Now that's coming from a guy that probably hasn't lived under a socialistic or communist regime. Mm-hmm. This is a pastor who currently resides and pastors out of Canada. Okay, so this is a Canadian pastor, and I gotta say, bravo, man, bravo. Take a look at this.
Please get out. Get out of this property. Immediately get out.
Get out.
Get out of this property immediately. Out. I don't want to hear anything. Out of this property immediately. I don't want to hear a word. Out. Out. Out of this property.
That's right.
Immediately.
Get out.
Until you come back with a
Gotta
warrant.
get him out.
Out. Out.
Look at him.
Out.
Look at her. She won't.
Out.
She's not getting the message.
Out of this property. Immediately out.
Seriously, get out.
Immediately go out and don't come back.
That's it.
I don't want to talk
Keep
to you.
moving.
Not a word. Out of this property.
Move along.
Out of this
You hear
property.
his heavy
immediately
Polish
out.
accent.
I don't care what you have to say. Out. Out. Out of this property, you Nazis. Out.
Yeah.
Out.
That's it.
Gestapo is not allowed here.
Gestapo, love it.
Immediately, Gestapo is not
He knows.
allowed.
And he's 100% right.
Do you understand English? Get out of this property. Go.
She's still trying.
Go.
She's still trying. I don't know what
Get
to say.
out.
She's got no legal jurisdiction there at all.
Out. Out. You
There you go.
understand?
That's it.
Nazis are not welcome here. Out.
And this needs to be every
And
one of
don't come
us.
back without a warrant.
And
That's
everyone,
right.
he
Do not
knows
come
his
back
rights.
without a warrant. You understand that? You're
And-
not welcome here.
and look-
Nazis are not welcome here.
This little contact tracer, or whoever she is, health official, or whoever she is, I understand she's taking orders as well. But the fact of the matter is, they don't have a right to come in for any reason into your place of business, your place of worship. They don't. They don't have the right to do that. If you allow them in, that's different.
It's very important
Clearly,
to
he
know our
didn't.
rights right now.
It's extremely important because we're
Yeah.
going to lose them
Yep.
the moment you start acting like that London preacher and you start voluntarily giving
Right.
up your freedoms, giving up your liberties.
That is, be courageous like this man.
And again, I
Right?
don't know her situation, but she took on a job where she's infringing upon people's rights. Yeah, she probably had marching orders. Who knows how it came down the pipe? But the fact of the matter is that you're going after the church on Easter weekend. You know what? We should have been caring before now. We should have been making these stands before now. But this guy, and I don't know his name. I don't have his name in front of me, but he's from Poland. You can hear the heavy Polish accent and understand the situation that Poland was in, and to a degree they still are, but was in for so many decades underneath this totalitarianism type rule, this Nazi type rule. And I understand it wasn't until, Reagan, 1987, they took down the Berlin Wall, that there was some sort of measure of freedom that came to that part of Europe. They know what socialism looks like. They know what totalitarianism looks like. He came to America to escape that. And so he's not going to put up with it.
He's not gonna,
He
yeah.
didn't come over here to watch the Gestapo follow him over here. He's
Right.
putting his foot down.
Right.
And I'm proud of that man. So proud of him. So let's take some comments. I want to know
Let's
what
help
you guys
most
are thinking.
pastors, more pastors follow that man's.
I'd love to see some American pastors that grow a pair of kahunas like he did, Because I'm not seeing enough of that from American churches right now.
Right. Yeah. No, you do. You hope that people will watch videos like this and get inspired for that man's courageousness, because it is. This is taking courage right now. And we need it desperately right now. We
need to go from conformity to courage. Enough with the conformity. We've conformed
We've
enough.
done that for a year, and look where it's gotten us.
Again, the pandemic is over. In fact, by
now,
many
when you
definitions,
say the pandemic is over,
pandemic's over. COVID will never go away. COVID will continue
Right.
to cross the globe for years and decades to
Correct.
come.
Good.
The
Right.
pandemic
That's
is
what you
over,
mean.
and by many definitions, it never reached a pandemic because the overall deaths, and look at CDC stats in the United States, did not go up.
10 years ago, it would not have even been considered a pandemic.
Is that how you?
That's how I get you quiet for
gain
a moment.
Control of the conversation. I see. All right.
He will dominate the conversation.
I am so sorry for sharing my thoughts and my ideas. Notice I've got the mic much closer to her. You probably can't hear me. I'm going to do this to you. How about this? Next time she talks, I'm just going to go. All right.
Ellen says it's time to make it stop. You mean him? Yes, I would.
Ellen, thank you. I know what you mean.
We know what you mean.
All right, I've got some YouTubers on here. Am I allowed to speak? I've got Kathy
You have
Major.
the floor. Go.
We've got Lisa Wood on here, right? I am angry with that the church isn't standing up. Why? Or are we still at 50%? Because conformity, it's safe, and we need to be safe as a church. Enough with the safety of the church.
Yeah, this is no longer about our safety. I think a lot of us have reached that level of
Unless, of course,
awareness.
You believe that them taking away your Bill of Rights is safe, right? Remember, the Bill of Rights was developed to protect us from government, and now we're going to give them the Bill of Rights?
Don Luzecki on here
That's
says,
not safe.
That kind of mess is why my family left Ukraine during World War II. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sit by and let these commies take the USA and our freedoms from us.
Donnie, thank you, and God bless you and
Absolutely.
his family. His mom, Erica, she's got just the cutest Polish accent, and I know that they know. And if you've noticed, those that are being most courageous in many, many ways, many, many times in America right now, immigrants, first-generation immigrants, maybe second-generation immigrants, but it's our immigrants, legal ones for the most part, that are standing up for our values and our rights because they are the ones
they've seen it.
that knows what it's like to not have them. Knows what it's like to have your...
And how frustrating must that be for... I mean, I know how frustrating it is to me when I walk into a store right now and I see everyone with their mask on and we're all walking around like a zombie apocalypse, up in here. And it's frustrating for me to see that. We are America. And then you're attacked if you don't have your mask on.
You're attacked if you don't. Okay, I'm going to share a story. I want to continue to take some questions, comments on this particular one, but I'm going to share a story of an experience that we had over the weekend.
Well, we had a couple.
We did, but just one in particular. I wanted to share with. What do you have over here? All right, let's see if I can bring that up.
I think this speaks volumes for when we have people that are not nice. And here's the thing. I think the thing that really upsets me the most about the way people react to those of us who have decided we're not wearing masks anymore.
Okay, I'm going to share a story. I want to continue to take some questions, comments on this. Why we don't go to Lisa very often. Now we know.
It's because, thank you. I feel like we should just treat each other with respect. And when I don't see it, that's an issue I have on treating others with human decency. And we did not receive that over the weekend.
No, we did not.
At different places. That's to be expected.
I'm only going to mention one.
Okay, well, you can mention one.
All right. And so this is to all my friends out here in Wayne County that are familiar with Bob's so-called supermarket and Walkit. I think locally they call it Walkit, right? First of all, Bob's is, they got high prices. Oftentimes that's the case in small towns. I'll pay the extra price. Location. We've noticed their selection's not always great. Produce is sometimes crummy. But one thing that we have noticed is that the treatment by management can be a little harsh at times. A little bit harsh. We, my daughter and I left the house, and I forgot to bring her mask because it was being washed. And so we showed up in the parking lot. She's 10 years old. I'm not going to leave her out in the parking lot. And we were entertaining. We had some guests that were on the way, and we just needed a couple of items. So out of courtesy, instead of me walking in with her maskless and just going out there and grabbing what we needed, I asked for the owner to come out so I could talk to her for a moment, because they've got it all over the front. Mask required, you've got to do this or else, no business, whatever. So I asked her. It's like, look, we just came. Daughter doesn't have a mask. I know that you require a mask. Is there a way I could just get a couple of items? And she's like, no, you don't even walk in here without a mask on. I'm like, okay, well, do you provide a mask? That way, my daughter could have one, since you're going to be very stringent on your policy. I went on to explain, you do understand that this is not enforceable by the state. This is all based on the way you want to do business here. And the science is in. The science is in. These masks aren't doing anything anyway. And she tried to go on to a debate, but I was like, look, I'm not going to debate you. I just want a couple of items, and either you can help acquiesce or you cannot. And she's like, I will not. You guys don't wear a mask. You can't do business here. And I said, you know what? We're not going to do business here. And we will never come back because of the she could have done any number of things. Could have provided a mask. Could have said she'll watch my child while I go grab the couple of items. Could have done any number of things. Could have had one of her employees go out to grab the items for us. Could have done any number of things.
I think we've lost customer service. There's so many mask Nazis out here that we've forgotten customer service.
There was no customer service.
And that's sad. I hate that because...
None. So anyway, I just want to put it out there. I called them up over the phone. I talked to the owner. I said, would you like to make a comment about this situation that I encountered? I do media. Would you like to make a comment? Because I'm going to talk about you. And I'll be happy to include a comment or an audio excerpt if you would like. And he's like, nope, no comment. You say whatever you want. Well, here you go, Bob's.
And then he mentioned...
Bob's Supermarket in Wolcott. Let me tell you, Wolcott...
The worst part is that he said, be careful.
Oh, then he threatened us.
And that was the part that I was like... Wow,
he said, be careful. So
this has gotten out of hand.
What Bob meant by that, I'm not sure, but I did ask him to explain, Bob. Please explain what you mean by be careful. And he came back and he said, oh, I just mean that next time you're here, you have to wear a mask. That's what I mean. I already said, Bob, I'm not coming back. So that threat falls on deaf ears. And now we're done.
I think, again, it comes down to decency.
Mm-hmm. Respect.
Human decency. That's all.
We've
had other experiences while we've been there. That was not our first time.
No, it wasn't a one and done.
This was not our first time where we've had an issue when we've been there. So
that's why I wanted to give them an opportunity.
So
to redeem themselves.
It's unfortunate, and I just.
Mm-hmm. Angie on here, I never make my kids wear a mask in a store, and they never say anything. Now I've had liberal snowflakes say something to me about how I wear mine. There you go, Angie, and awesome for you, giving your kids a little bit of courage to go out there and help change the world for better, because that's really what it comes down to. Now that we're in a position now where we are, and again, this is all after the fact. The pandemic is over. Viruses happen. We have to move on. And let's teach our kids courage. Let's teach our kids to stand up, do what's right. And you know what? It starts with being respectful. If you don't want my business, that's fine. I'm going to come to you and give you an opportunity to keep my business. But if you want to treat us like dirt and you want to look down on us, then that's fine. You've just lost business. That's all it is. And that's what's going to come down to. And we're going to get into the...
Sad, sad day when that happens, isn't it, guys?
We're going to get into Major League Baseball and Coke. And what's happening in Georgia.
We're a Dr. Pepper kind of family right now.
And I know boycotts aren't always... They don't always work. They don't. But I'm here to tell you...
Enough people do
that
it,
if today... Oh, absolutely. But they can work. They can be very effective. And Donald Trump Jr. was on Newsmax, I believe, earlier. And... what he was talking about cancel culture, and he goes, I hate to say it, because their tactics of canceling people have been working. That's making people conform at numbers that you would have never imagined that would be possible. But the tactics that are used by the left through cancel culture, unfortunately, it's becoming more and more clear that those that are on the right, if we are going to protect ourselves and protect our rights, we are going to have to come back with them with the same tactics. I hate to say it, but cancel culture, the only way to cancel culture is to fight fire with fire. And that's what we have to start doing and thinking collectively, not just as conservatives, many of you are, but as people of faith as people that love family, that people that love the foundations and the values that this country was formed upon. These are the people that have to begin to reject wokeism, because wokeism is racism. Understand what it is. Who do we have?
Dr. Pepper, we looked into it. It is not made by Coke.
Okay, very good. Okay.
I'm about 85% sure on that.
Okay.
Somebody tell me if they're 100%.
So this should be
okay.
an
Now
easy...
I'm feeling like I may be 65% sure.
All right. So what's happening here? Is the debate's whether Coke and Dr. Pepper.
My son. Okay, let me rephrase all of this. My son told me Dr. Pepper was not Coke. So now I'm actually starting to feel like I'm about 50% sure about that.
Well,
who makes Dr. Pepper?
You guys ready for this?
What? Who is that?
Well, it was created in 1885.
Okay, 1885.
1885.
Okay, and it's not Coke, right?
But it has been purchased, hasn't it? Who owns Dr. Pepper?
I was told it wasn't Coke.
By your son.
Look, Misty's 100% sure.
It is owned by Coca-Cola Company. Right there. Manufactured by Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Okay, so you went from 85 to what? I mean, that was fast. You're talking about, wow.
Well, then I remembered who my source was, and it was my teenager.
You're definitely going to have to go after, Dr. Pepper.
So it's a part of the Dr. Pepper Snapple group, which is Coca-Cola?
Well, it says, according to Wikipedia, that it's manufactured by Coca-Cola.
Come on.
Can you guys help us out here? Help us out here.
All right. Lori says Pepsi. No, I don't. Brittany says it's a Pepsi product.
Oh, okay.
It's Pepsi?
Okay, 1885.
Is it Pepsi?
Let's see. Dr. Pepper. Boy, they really do make it different. It's not real easy.
It's hard. Oh, they're going to make it hard to find, I guess. Debbie says it's a Coke product. Well, I am getting mixed information here, guys. Which is it?
All right. Well, we're going to let you guys get back.
We'll have to look into this because that's what Landon likes when he gets a treat on the weekend. That is what he will pick.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. With that being said, we'll come back to this.
What do you do, guys? What do you do?
We'll come back to this controversy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a controversy. Here you go. Speaking of the whole thing, and I meant to include this earlier in the show.
Okay.
So what I want to do is I want to take a look at this. Let's take a little bit of Bible scripture. I shared this on Twitter earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of these times when, everything's all upside down and crazy and you can't go to church even on the holiest of weekends.
That's when things are not good,
all
right?
Isaiah 5:20, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. It goes on to say that their day is coming. And I believe that to be true. I believe so much of what we're seeing around us is just wrong, and it is evil, and it can't be celebrated.
Right.
Us Christians that turn a blind eye to this stuff, you're guilty. If you don't stand on your convictions, you're guilty. Remember what Jesus says about lukewarm Christians. Remember that. And if you don't encourage your church to do the right thing, right? And if you keep drinking Coke, think about what could happen to your soul.
Apparently we may be, so I don't.
Think what could happen to your soul. Hey, we just got a little boost in our population, 227 live. If you haven't already liked and shared the program, please consider doing so.
Oh, no.
Just watched a couple of videos, two pastors, one on the west side of the Atlantic, the other on the east side of the Atlantic Ocean, that is. And these two pastors had a completely different reaction when the police arrived and said that you've got too many people in here, or you're not social distancing, or your mask. One of the pastors completely caved, said, "Okay, guys, I know it's Good Friday, and a lot of you guys came here to celebrate our Savior, but according to the police here, there's too many of you in here, and now this is unlawful, so go home." And the other pastor said, rightfully said, "Get out of my house." No Gestapo, no Nazis allowed here in this house. Get out of my house. I know the law. Don't come back unless you have a warrant. And of course, he's the guy. He's being hailed
I kind of felt like
by Christians all over today.
that kind of happened at Bob's Supermarket, huh?
I said I'm not coming in. Well, yeah, we got kicked out by Bob's wife, Robin, I believe her name is. Lovely lady, let me tell you. But that's it. They have every right to go about their business, and that's why I asked before I went in. That's why I asked.
I don't like
they
that.
have every.
It is what it is.
As
right?
a private business, they can do that.
Yeah,
though.
of course they can, and of
And
course
they have every
we
right.
don't have to go back either,
They
right?
have every
So-
right to tell me that I can't come in their place without a mask, and I have every right to tell them I will never do business with you again. Period.
And again, I
Done.
think there was a way to do that, and unfortunately,
If you're jerks,
there's
you're a
a
jerk-
way to do it, right? And I have noticed Robin before with my daughter in there multiple
Mm-hmm.
times. She has not. It's just I don't like it.
All
I
right,
mean,
let's get
what's to like when we have scenarios like this? You
Let's
know,
get to
it's
some weather.
unfortunate. All right, let's. Ooh, you said weather. Okay.
Yep. Quick 5-day weather update. All right, we got a chance of showers moving in. This is going to be late overnight. We'll be out of here by morning tomorrow. Wednesday it looks dry. We've got a secondary system arriving here as we head towards the start of the weekend. This is Friday. Small chance of showers in the morning. Chance of severe weather next couple of days across the south central United States, moving into the southeast. For the northeast here over the weekend, chance of some rain returning Saturday night and into Sunday morning. Temperatures for the northeast will be at or above average. Temperatures across the southeastern U.S. at or below average. That's your forecast in under a minute for the eastern United States. How about
Under
that?
a minute. Thank you, dear. You're awesome.
You're
Rachel,
welcome.
I hope I'm saying your name right. Rachel Nelson says it's flippin' tables time.
It's
Flip
flipping-
the tables
yeah, that's
time
right.
is here,
Talking
she
about,
says.
Talking about Jesus accusing them
There-
of selling of
If you're
marketing in the church.
Yeah, if you're not angry at a lot of things you're seeing right now, I don't know if you're living under a rock, but there's a lot of things that are...
If you're not angry, you need to check yourself.
Check yourself.
Check yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Because there's a lot of things right now that are not right.
Well, they're not right. We were promised that there were going to be some wholesale changes at the beginning of the pandemic, remember? Remember Cuomo when he famously said just a few weeks into the pandemic, now's the time to think something greater. And after this pandemic is over with, let's think about reimagining society, right? Let's reimagine education. And then you get into the talk of the great reset. Right, we're going to reimagine the way we do business worldwide, right? Reimagine everything. There's a reason they're printing out trillions of dollars at a time right now. Speaking of which, and speaking of the great reset, George Soros has...
Oh, how's Georgie?
He has pledged out of one of his personal foundations.
Okay.
George Soros has
tell.
pledged $20 million to the lobbyists that are trying to push through the $2 trillion Biden infrastructure plan. Which it turns out only about 5 to 6% is actually going to infrastructure. So last time I checked, 95% of $2 trillion looks a lot like $1.8 trillion. Excuse me, 1.9. 95% of $2 trillion looks about like 1.9 trillion. So when he's spending $20 million to convince these lawmakers to vote yes to a $2 trillion plan that's going to enrich him by probably many billions of dollars. Sounds like a pretty smart business move by this guy, George Soros. And it sounds like a really stupid move by any lawmaker who expects to keep his job. Because us Americans should be ticked off at this. We should be pissed about these wholesale changes that they're trying to do to our society without asking us $20 million to go out there and convince some lawmakers, some people that maybe you helped to get elected, to go out there and vote yes to $2 trillion. We don't know what it's going to, but we know it's not really going to help infrastructure. We should be pissed about this. This is massive manipulation of our government and our system. That doesn't even go into what's happening in Georgia with all the voting. But George Soros wants to spend $20 million so he can make back many billions. And he's going to make it off you, the taxpayer, and our children, and our children's children, and likely our children's children's children, as they'll be paying them back for generations at the way that we are spending right now. All right, that's my rant of the night.
Right into a socialist state. That's socialist state 101, by the way.
Uh-huh. Yeah, socialism.
Yeah.
Who cares? Socialism. What's the worst thing that could go wrong? Oh, everything? Okay, we've seen
only everything.
We've seen how the government operates the post office, right?
How about the DMV? That's always a good one.
We see how they run the DMV.
Is that how you want your health care run?
Oh, we've seen the changes to our health care since Obamacare came into town. Is that what we want for everything in society? Come on, people.
Oh, boy, guys. We know that's not a good idea. We know it. Now, they're not teaching that at public schools right now. There is literally, 36% of college students say that communism is a good idea. They support it.
Who does?
College students, 36%.
Support communism. Well, There you go. Indoctrination's working, folks.
Oh, it absolutely is. They are endorsing ignorance.
Unbelievable.
Absolute ignorance if you don't think communism isn't evil.
All right, who do we have on the program?
All
It's
right.
9:48.
We have Jason on. Hey, Jason. And we have Rachel. Good night. I'm glad you're on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for being on here.
Mark White, we're glad to see you on. Laurie says, when did this administration ask us for anything except lockdown and fail? Yeah, Chris Mooney says, Nancy Pelosi's husband is an investor in Tesla who is getting government grant. Okay. I wasn't aware of that.
I didn't know that there was a connection with...
I didn't know that, yeah.
Him and Elon Musk.
Brittany says, how is George Soros still alive? Wasn't he alive during World War II and happy with himself for turning in his Jewish neighbors?
Yeah, the guy's been around for a long time. And the fact that he's meddling with our elections. Hey, remember the quote, and I played it for you on this program before, and I shared this on my social medias, but the quote that came in out of the World Economic Forum from early 2020. This was in January of 2020, so over a year ago. Do you guys remember the quote from George Soros?
What was it?
When it came to Trump? The quote from Soros...
Oh, yes, I do remember that. It was very disturbing.
Was that, don't worry, because Trump is going to be a temporary phenomenon, and we're not going to have to worry about him beyond 2020.
Right?
He said beyond 2020.
Beyond 2020.
Well, it's almost like he knew something. It's almost like...
Let's see. One of the most wealthy men in the States, for sure, right? Is he the most wealthy?
George Soros?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's top 10.
Top 10, excuse me.
Worldwide, I would say. But he said that don't worry, because Trump had made a big stand during the World Economic Forum in 2020, January 2020. Trump very boldly proclaimed that he's not given in to the wills of globalists, and he's not given in to the wills of socialists.
He said that,
and he said that the future belongs to patriots, not globalists. That's what Trump said. And then Soros came back and said, well, don't worry about Trump. He's a temporary phenomenon, and you're not going to have to worry about him after 2020. What did he know that we didn't at the time? Of course, this was pre-pandemic. And, of course, you unravel all these many months later. You go through the pandemic and all the rule changes, the law changes. You go through an election, of course, that was transparent as a block of wood, right? And then you arrive, of course, at the end of that when Joe Biden got into office after, that's right, didn't even bother to campaign because he was that good. Didn't even bother to campaign.
Right.
And yet he's the most popular president ever. Let's not forget that.
100%.
All right, who do we have?
Herbert on here says, I'm a Georgia resident. What is wrong with requiring an ID to vote when you must provide one to go to Atlantic clubs,
Yep.
Six Flags,
Yep.
buy cigarettes, alcohol, etc. Exactly. There is nothing wrong with it.
It's
Absolutely nothing at all.
It's all Hippocratic double standardism. And again, if we don't stand up to these woke companies, and I'm talking about woke franchises like Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, many of our professional sports have bought into this wokeism.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't hit them in the pocketbook, they're going to continue to dictate like this. And again, just basically acting like pawns of George Soros. But the same thing with Coke. You all saw the quote by the Coke CEO? Did you see that?
Did you get verification that was him speaking?
He said it.
That was a quote from him.
He said it. I'm thinking about moving my Coca-Cola plant out of Georgia to the UK. Too many rednecks down here. He said that.
Oh, well.
What are you going to say? If that's not
You know
bias,
what?
if that's not discriminatory, I don't know what is.
I have nothing nice to say, so I will just not say anything.
Like that's never mind. That's true.
I will say nothing at all.
Put your lipstick on, right?
Where's my chapstick?
Right. That's what I meant to say.
You know what? My chapstick is not
It's
far.
gone. It's gone.
It's right here.
All right. So
we go like this.
I hear that Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is now suspended from Twitter again. Is that right?
Who is it?
Marjorie Greene. Is she suspended again? Well, wait. She just tweeted 11 minutes ago.
So she's not.
I thought I saw a headline that she was.
Okay.
Yeah, never mind. It's rumor mill stuff.
Rumor mill. Okay. Okay, so we have Penny on tonight, because I really don't believe we will until God comes.
So I'm going to bring Marjorie on, okay? I've got her on standby here. She's talking about how it's racist to enforce the voter ID law, right? Racist. It's just such a racist idea, right? Think about it. And what bias could you feed into to come up with racism by requiring a voter ID? Let's hear what she has to say. She thinks that the left is attacking the intelligence of the black community.
Joanne says she was suspended for 12 hours. Okay.
All right, here we go. The intelligence of the black community. Go.
When Major League Baseball wants to stop requiring identification to pick up tickets at the will call window, then we can have a conversation about showing an ID to vote. When Delta wants to stop requiring people to show an ID to fly on their airline, then we can have a conversation about showing ID to vote.
Yeah.
When Coca-Cola wants to change the laws in our country where people don't have to show ID to buy their alcoholic beverages, then we can have a conversation about showing ID to vote. I have a strong opinion on this, and it is not racist to require people to have an ID to vote. It's very racist to assume that black people are not intelligent enough to be able to get an ID to vote. So I think the Democrats are the ones that are definitely being the racist in this situation. They're looking down on black voters, and so are these very rich CEOs of these very successul corporations.
Well, and the guy you said
Major League Baseball wants to,
he can't be with the rednecks of Georgia anymore, right?
That's what he said.
Well, bye-bye.
And I sent out a tweet
earlier
saying, don't let the door hit you on the, you know what, on the way out. And people really responded to that. But I believe people are fed up. I believe people have had enough of this
it's
wokeism.
Lunacy. It is absolute lunacy.
The political correctness have gone so far. Understand that in many other parts of the world right now, including China, they are openly making fun of America's blatant weakness. It is a glaring weakness at this point that they can get under our skin and they can cause us to divide and fight ourselves over nothing. We are divided by the pettiest of things.
That is one thing that America has gotten really good at.
Being petty?
We don't even know why we're mad at each other. We're just mad.
We're just mad, is right. And guess what? They're going to take our country from us because all we want to do is be mad and be woke. Okay, screw. You go off of the woke crowd, and we'll see where that takes you. I'd say exactly where that's going to take you. It's going to take you right here, and woe to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness and light. for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. That's Isaiah 5:20. If that's not spot on, I don't know what is.
Yeah, we were talking about making living wisely, and a lot of that does come with removing drama from your life. Remember we were talking about that earlier?
I do.
And it does seem like we live in a society right now that just is clinging to that. It also talks about if we go with the flow of culture, you're going to pay a price every time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
That's Andy Stanley.
Andy Stanley today. The kids
really
and
enjoy
I.
That guy.
That was part of our homeschool today. I don't know if y'all don't know who Andy Stanley is.
He's
Look
the
him
son
up.
of Charles Stanley.
Yeah, if you know Charles Stanley.
A very popular evangelist.
Yeah, and so a good thing to keep in mind as we are seeing this normalization of so many just really out there things that they want to make normal.
Yeah, no,
and we can't allow that. We can't allow
enough
that.
is enough. Enough being under the guise of safety. This is not about safety. This is about giving up our remaining liberties to tyrants, to oppressors, to a totalitarian style government. If you think Cuomo is bad now, just wait. If he's allowed to continue to pass these mandates and enforce these executive orders, you know he's going to be able to dodge all of the corruption that he's obviously guilty of.
Chris Mooney says, what does woke mean?
Wokeism? Wokeism is this notion that if you have white skins, you're an oppressor. If you have black skin, you're the oppressed. Wokeism is this idea that systemic racism is the biggest issue in America. That's wokeism. I will not say that there's no racism. There's hillbillies. They're out there. There's a few of them left. Not many. They don't have much power. They don't have much influence. If you want to argue with me that systemic racism is real, I would say you're right, but mainly just in a political entity. And I'm talking about the Democrat plantation of all the inner cities in the United States. Yeah. In those inner cities, I guarantee you are 100% correct. Racism is still systemic. But that's what wokeism is this idea that Martin Luther King stood for nothing and he didn't change the world. That's wokeism. The idea that Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass didn't change the United States forever through the Civil War and through the Emancipation Proclamation. Turning a blind eye and saying that we haven't progressed. That's wokeism, and I won't stand for it. I'm awake, not woke. We need a clap button because we need an audience.
We don't have anything fun for that, do we?
No, we don't. We'll have to work on that. Come back next time, folks. Sorry, who do we have? It's 9:59. We got to wrap this up. We've been on for an hour.
Oh, my God. We do need to wrap this up.
Do you have a verse of the day?
Derek, okay, I can't. Derek says, right, let's stand up for our rights. That's right. That's right. Derek, we must stand up for our rights. Lori on here says, God bless and sleep peacefully knowing he is in control. We will hold the line. Ask for his protection and guidance in all we do. I pray Trump has everything he needs to take us to the best we have ever seen. The cabal has no place here.
Nope, it does not. And and I'm glad to see more and more people are talking about it. More and more people are awake. We're not woke, we're awake. And by the way, woke is past tense. That means that you're no longer awake. I'd rather be awake.
All right. Very well then. Okay. So have you come over here?
I was already over there and then I left.
You did
want me
leave.
to come back?
Well.
Oh, no. You're right. We're
Maybe. Okay. There it is. The cabal has no place here.
Oh. Cut your voice for a
I
second
thought
there.
this was good. This was part of our homeschool lesson today, me and the kids. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. And when he was talking about days, he meant the culture. And the culture can sway us down a dark path if we're not careful.
It absolutely can, and it will.
Okay, so we need to be wise in our decisions. We need to be wise.
And not worldly.
And use some, I think there's a lot of lack of common sense going on.
Oh, it's beyond lack of common sense.
Well,
it's one thing
I don't even know. It's just. We need to ask for wisdom. If you're having trouble with some of these things, I am telling you, you can go to God for wisdom, and He will give it to you.
Can they go to you? Can they go to AKA Lisa Ray? Will you talk to people, counsel, that sort of thing?
I would love to. I will, to the best of my ability.
Okay, there you go. There you go. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate y'all being on. One final check of our YouTubers, and hearty shout out to all of our patrons for all those that help to support this program. We can't do this stuff without you, but we appreciate you very much.
Chris Mooney would be correct. Seems the government and media is creating a woke society. Yes, if you are listening only to the government and media, you are going to think that those things are correct.
And again,
they're not.
I sent out a tweet. I got to repeat this. Sorry. I know some of you guys are not on Twitter. Maybe you get annoyed when I talk about tweets. I used to get annoyed at the tweeters as well back in the day.
Until you became one?
But, yeah, I became one. And don't worry, because Twitter is not for the faint of heart. Don't get on there.
I'm not a big fan.
Okay, you don't have to
I don't
be.
go on there often.
But I retweeted something that came from Alexander. I'm gonna butcher his last name, but he was Russian.
Okay.
Russian philosopher.
Try to say it in a Russian
Alexander Solzhenitsyn, whatever it is.
Close. So close.
This is what he had to say. Take a look. So he said.
Okay.
See if I can get the whole quote on here.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good quote.
Don't make fun of my quote.
I'm not making fun of your quote. I said what?
I don't know why I didn't show up though.
Okay. Well.
Here you go.
Yep.
Or maybe not. I'll just read it to you. He said, "We know they are lying. They know they are lying. They know that we know they are lying. We know that they know that we know they are lying. And still they continue to lie."
Wow,
that is socialism.
Whew.
That is communism, my friends. And that's exactly where we're at in America today. Let me repeat the last part. We know that we know they are lying, and they continue to lie. So,
oh boy.
If a famous Russian philosopher could recognize that, hopefully we can recognize that.
Dave Harper says not even close, Jeremy, on the last name.
Oh, yeah. Help me out here, Dave.
Nailed it.
Help me out.
No.
Yeah, not a clue.
Here, someone is trying to help you, Michael.
Yes.
Slotcha-Nissan.
Slotcha-Nissan.
Nissan.
Nissan? That's a...
Nissan.
It's a car.
Salsa-Nissan.
There it is, though. Okay.
Oh, boy. Okay.
All right. Are we out yet? I meant to bring up my YouTubers one final time. Hey, thanks, YouTubers. Franchetta, Kathy, Donnie. We can't do this stuff by ourselves. We appreciate all your support on all the social media channels. And look at that. We have infinite tweets.
Chris wants to know if there's a place for donations. We appreciate that,
yes.
Chris. You can subscribe to our Patreon, and we would appreciate that. I know Don put that link.
Also, there are now 2 ways to support Weather Live. If you're not comfortable with the Patreon format, which is a monthly reoccurring fee, you can also come on over to our Team Capel support page, where you can make a one-time donation, and we would be honored. So there's that. That's on capelweather.com /support WX Live. So you could do a PayPal donation there. So we appreciate that very much. All right, we're going to get out of here. It's 10:05. Good show. Tomorrow we're going to be on the road. We're going to look for ways to provide some additional content.
Are we going on a road trip?
We're going on a road trip tomorrow.
Perhaps a little fun live for our patrons from the road.
Yeah. So patrons, you'll get that. We're going to come up with something fun and creative for you guys. We'll continue to monitor the news. You can follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Oh, wait. I've got a thing for this. Also, we have a presence on
got a thing for this.
Parler, Instagram, Rumble. Look us up. And then we'll be back here on this program. This will be Thursday night. So Thursday night edition on Weather Live. Always a lot of fun.
All right. Very good.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for being on. I think we're going to go ahead and go now. My thing's giving me a little problem here. Let's see if I can go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We got some issues?
Tech issues. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
All right, let's leave you guys with some tunes.
All right. Y'all have a great night. Get some sleep. Love you guys.
Bye, guys. Talk soon.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate.
Our natural unalienable rights are now considered to be a dispensation of government, and freedom has never been so fragile, so close to slipping from our grasp as it is at this moment.
Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
When the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically.
Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.